Donald Trump did some things this week. We heard last night. He's done some things this week that even Trump opponents have thought were pretty good, particularly in foreign policy. And he's done some things that I think could be extremely good for the world and for America. And he's done some things that would make any rational person pull their hair out. And I want to try to put all that in context if I can. And I'm able to do it thanks to my colleagues because they pulled together a bunch of clips. And if you haven't spent your day tracking Donald Trump's movements, first to North Carolina, and now he's flying to California. He spoke on departure from the White House. He spoke a bunch of times in North Carolina to the media, answering questions, making statements. There's no shortage of material. It's kind of crazy to think that just a few weeks ago during the transition, we were all talking about, well, less Trump is more, and he's not speaking out, and most days he's off camera. Well, apparently he built up a lot of stuff he wanted to say, because now that he's in the White House, he is talking nonstop. Again, I have such sympathy for not just my neighbors here on the Upper West Side, but for people all over America who are looking at these first few days and seeing um, horrible things to them, horrible things. Some of them are small and you might say petty, like canceling the security detail of people who used to work for him, who the Iranians have threatened to kill, vowed to kill. You might think that's small, you might think that's big, but it affects only a few people. And he insulting Joe Biden, like kicking that guy now, um, and some of the stylistic things. And then there's some things like the deportations and scrapping DEI that are enormous. They're enormous what he's done. They're use the word advisedly. They're radical changes in American policy that are symbolic and substantive and incredibly upsetting to some people. And then there are people who are delighted. And part of the challenge for me and anyone else trying to analyze this is, by almost any measure, they're executing well, just a technical proficiency. And that's the subject, the product, which we've said here many times, of being a unique second-term president. Experienced, determined, surrounded by people like Susie Wiles who have spent months, in some cases years, planning for this moment. And the fact that he has caught a pass from the quarterback 5 yards downfield, and he's looked around, and there's not a Democrat within 30 yards of him. He's open field running here, and he is dealing with a press corps, along with the Democrats, the media, supposed to hold him accountable. That is like the worst combination of underfinanced, because most news organizations have nothing like the capacity to throw resources at covering him. They're underfinanced. They're shaken by their failure to stop him from being elected. And they're determined, in many cases, not all, to not yield the market share of the half the country that likes Trump. So they're trying to figure out how to cover him more fairly last time. And they are powerless to do what they'd like to do and what they should do, which is to rationally evaluate him and tell the American people what he's saying, what he's doing, what it means. They're on to all the tricks that they fell for a decade, almost a decade, that he floods the zone with all these different things and says outrageous things, and they look at the bright, shiny object. They now know all that, and you can watch cable and hear them say it all day, but there's nothing really you can do. And I've said it before, I'll keep saying it until somebody else steals it from me. It is harder to cover Donald Trump than to run against him politically. It is, you could be the most fair reporter, you can have integrity, you can have thoughtfulness, you can have a lot of money to throw resources at it. This is just a challenge.